This is for forgetting your place. Michael Ashford's voice echoed across the ballroom as he poured the entire glass of wine over Elena's head. 300 people watched. His parents applauded. His friends recorded it on their phones, laughing like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. Elena stood there, wine dripping down her face, ruining her silver dress, and she smiled. Actually smiled. Because in exactly 42 hours, the same family would walk into her office to sign a $500 million contract. And she was about to teach them that humiliation has a price tag. Hit that subscribe button right now. Stay until the end because what happens Monday morning will shock you. Comment below which city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. You won't believe what she does next. Elena Martinez watched Michael Ashford snap his fingers at the server. Another drink, now. The young man nodded quickly. Yes, sir, right away. Michael didn't even look at him, just turned back to his friends laughing about something cruel. Elena caught fragments. Did you see her face? Absolutely pathetic. More laughter. She'd been watching the Ashford family for 20 minutes now, taking mental notes, building her case. Phoenix Global Technologies was 48 hours away from signing a $500 million partnership with Ashford Industries, and Elena needed to know if they deserved it. So far, they didn't. Elena. Lawrence Whitmore appeared beside her, champagne in hand. Still hiding in corner. Observing Lawrence, there's a difference. Observing what? Elena nodded toward Michael and his group. Our potential partners. How they treat people when they think nobody's watching. Lawrence's smile faded. You're still going through with that deal, Elena. I need to tell you something about the Ashfords. Richard, we need another drink. A woman's shrill voice cut through the conversation. Victoria Ashford stood nearby, snapping her fingers at a different server. This champagne is warm. Unacceptable. The server, maybe 20 years old, apologized. I'll get you a fresh glass immediately, Mrs. Ashford. You should have brought a fresh glass the first time. Does this hotel hire anyone competent anymore? Elena's jaw tightened. She'd seen enough. That's what I wanted to tell you, Lawrence said quietly. Victoria treats service workers like furniture. Richard enables it. And their son Michael, he's worse. How much worse? Last year at my Christmas party, he made a waitress cry. Called her stupid in front of 50 guests because she brought him the wrong scotch. Elena's phone buzzed. Text from Sarah, her assistant, Ashford Financials updated. They're desperate. This deal is their only survival option. She knew. She'd done her research. Ashford Industries was circling the drain. Revenue down 40%. 2 major investors pulling out. 3 lawsuits from former employees. Without Phoenix Global's partnership, they'd collapse in 6 months. Miss Reynolds. A server approached nervously. More champagne. Elena smiled at her. I'm fine, thank you. What's your name? The young woman blinked, surprised. Jennifer? How's your evening, Jennifer? It's good, ma'am. Thank you for asking. Most people at this event didn't ask. They snapped, demanded, treated servers like they were invisible. Elena had been on the other side once. Her mother spent 20 years cleaning houses for people who never learned her name. Elena Martinez. Another voice. There you are. She turned. Michael Ashford was walking toward her expensive suit, confident smile, eyes traveling up and down her body in a way that made her skin crawl. I don't think we've met. He extended his hand. Michael Ashford. Elena kept her handshake brief. Elena. Just Elena Mysterious. His smile widened. I like mysterious. What do you do, just Elena? I'm a business consultant. Michael's friends had followed him over. They circled around hyenas, sensing entertainment. A consultant, Michael repeated, tone dripping with condescension. How cute. Let me guess. Small business marketing, social media strategies. Something like that. One of his friends laughed. A consultant at the Whitmore Summit. How'd you score an invitation? Maybe she's hoping to meet a rich husband, another suggested. They all laughed, Michael the loudest. Elena felt Lawrence tense beside her. She touched his arm gently. Not yet. If you'll excuse me. she said politely, turning to leave. Michael's hand shot out, gripping her elbow. Firm. Controlling. Hey, we're talking here. It's rude to walk away mid-conversation. Elena looked down at his hand, then back at his face. Her voice dropped to ice. Remove your hand. Now. For a moment, something flickered in Michael's eyes. Warning. Danger. But his friends were watching, making mocking sounds, and ego overrode survival instinct. Or what? He leaned closer, wine heavy on his breath. You'll report me newsflash, sweetheart. My family donated $500,000 to this foundation. I can do whatever I want. Michael, Lawrence stepped forward. You need to… Stay out of this, Larry. Michael's grip tightened. I'm teaching a lesson about respecting your betters. Conversations around them started dying. People turning, watching. Elena's pulse remained steady. She'd faced down boardrooms full of hostile executives, negotiated billion-dollar deals while men screamed in her face. This boy didn't scare her. He disgusted her. Last warning, she said calmly. Let go. Michael glanced at his friends, at the gathering crowd, at his parents who'd materialized nearby, watching with amusement instead of horror. You know what your problem is. He released her arm but stepped closer, invading her space. People like you come to these events and forget your place. You rent a nice dress slap on some makeup and suddenly think you belong with us. But you don't. You'll never belong. The ballroom had gone quiet. 300 people watching. Waiting. Elena could walk away. Should walk away. But she'd spent 32 years watching people like Michael Ashford humiliate people like her mother. I belong exactly where I choose to belong, she said quietly. And right now, I choose to be away from you. She turned, took 3 steps. Hey. Michael's voice cracked with rage. I'm not done with you. Elena kept walking. Behind her, his friends erupted. You gonna let her disrespect you like that? Show her who's boss Mike. Put her in her place. 10 steps away. She heard his footsteps, fast, angry. She turned just as Michael raised his wine glass. This is for forgetting your place. He tilted it. Red wine cascaded over Elena's head. Cold. Shocking. It hit her scalp, ran down her face into her eyes, her nose, her mouth. Soaked into her hair, dripped from her chin onto her silver dress. The fabric darkened, heavy with liquid. Wine ran down her neck, between her shoulder blades pooled in her shoes. Elena stood absolutely still, eyes closed, hands at her sides. The wine kept dripping. The ballroom was dead silent. Then the laughter started. Michael first. Loud. Cruel. His friends joined in howling. But the worst sound came from behind them. Richard and Victoria Ashford applauding. That's my boy, Richard called out. Show her what happens when you get uppity. Absolutely perfect, Victoria added, clapping. Did you see her face? Elena opened her eyes. Wine blurred her vision, stinging. Through the red haze, she saw Michael's triumphant grin, saw his parents' approval, saw his friends recording on their phones. She also saw Lawrence's face purple with rage, starting forward. She held up one hand, stopping him. Don't, she said quietly. He's not worth it. Michael's grin widened. Hear that, boys? I'm not worth it. The little consultant thinks, you'll understand Monday morning. Elena's voice cut through his mockery like a blade. 9 a.m., Phoenix Global Technologies, Conference Room A, don't be late. She turned and walked toward the exit. Wine dripped with every step, leaving a trail across the marble. People parted like she was contagious. 300 pairs of eyes following her, whispers starting. Did she say Phoenix Global? That's the tech company about to… No way. That's impossible. Elena didn't look back. Not at Michael's confused face. Not at his parents' sudden unease. Not at Lawrence's grim satisfaction. Outside, her driver jumped from the black SUV. Ms. Martinez. What happened? Call Sarah. Elena accepted the towel he offered, wiping wine from her face. Tell her to cancel the 9 a.m. Ashford signing. David's eyes widened. Ma'am, that's $500 million. I know what it is. Tell Sarah to prepare conference room A for a different meeting. Legal team present, PR on standby. And I want security footage from inside sent to my email within the hour. Are you sure about this? The board expects. The board will understand. Elena looked back at the glittering hotel. Somewhere inside, Michael Ashford was still laughing, still celebrating, still completely unaware he'd just destroyed his family's legacy. Trust me, David. By Wednesday, everyone will understand exactly what happened here. The SUV pulled away. Elena sat in silence, wine drying in her hair phone, buzzing with texts. Lawrence, her CFO, board members who'd already heard. She ignored them all. Instead, she opened a file on her tablet. Ashford Industries, 70 years old, valued at $800 million, revenue declining, profit margins shrinking, 2 investors threatening to pull out, 3 lawsuits from former employees, and 1 absolutely critical deal with Phoenix Global that represented their only survival. Elena scrolled through financial data, legal troubles, investigative reports. She'd spent 3 months vetting the Ashfords, wanting to be sure, wanting to believe they were worth saving. Tonight answered every question. Her phone buzzed, video file from hotel security. She opened it. There she was, Michael approaching. The conversation, his hand on her arm, her warning. The wine glass raising, the cascade, the laughter, the applause. But the camera caught something else. The faces of people watching. Some horrified, some uncomfortable, some disgusted. Too many amused, like cruelty was entertainment. Elena saved the video to 3 servers, then opened her email. Sarah emergency board meeting, Sunday, 7 a.m. Non-negotiable. Every member present. Subject cancellation of Ashford partnership. Prepare presentation covering all research on Ashford family, including tonight's incident. Full disclosure. Contact Marcus Chen at Titanium Enterprises. Tell him I want to discuss the joint venture he proposed last month. If he's available Sunday evening, I'll make time. Send flowers and personal apology to every server who worked tonight. Include $1,000 each. They deserved better. I'll be in the office by 6 a.m. Monday. Security should expect the Ashford family at 9 a.m. They won't have an appointment, but I'll see them. Once. Briefly, Elena. She hit send as David pulled up to her brownstone. In situ, Elena stripped off the ruined dress, threw it away, stood under scalding water for 20 minutes. Wine circled the drain pink and accusatory. She washed her hair 3 times, scrubbed her skin until it hurt, but couldn't wash away the feeling of Michael's hand on her arm, his breath in her face, his parents' laughter. She'd spent her adult life building Phoenix Global from a startup in her apartment to a $3 billion company, earned her reputation as brilliant, fair, demanding, uncompromising on ethics, turned down more lucrative deals than most CEOs ever saw because partners didn't meet her standards. Tonight, she'd almost made the biggest mistake of her career. Elena poured a glass of wine, read, almost laughed at the irony, then sat at her desk and began making notes. The Ashfords thought they'd humiliated a nobody, a consultant who'd wandered into an event above her station. Monday morning, they'd discover their mistake. But Elena wasn't interested in simple revenge. Revenge was emotional, messy, ultimately unsatisfying. She wanted justice, and justice required precision. Her phone rang. Lawrence, are you okay? Yes. Elena, I'm sorry. I should have warned you earlier. Not your fault. That boy is a monster. His parents created him. Pause. The whole ballroom is talking, half appalled, half making excuses. I've had 3 board members tell me Michael was drunk, that you should have de-escalated, that it was just a harmless prank. Elena's hand tightened on her glass. Harmless. I told them they were idiots. A few asked smart questions about who you really are. What did you tell them? Nothing. That's your story to tell. Silence. What are you going to do? What needs to be done? The Ashford deal is over, completely, permanently. Long silence. Then quietly, their company will collapse. Yes. That's 800 jobs, employees who had nothing to do with tonight. Elena had already thought about this, done the math. I'll protect the employees. Our HR team will offer interviews, I'll reach out to other companies, set up a job placement fund. But I won't save the company. The company is rotten from the top down. The Ashfords will fight back. Let them try. Lawrence chuckled darkly. I've known you 8 years. Watched you negotiate with senators and CEOs 3 times your age. Watched you build something extraordinary. But I've never heard this tone before. What tone? Absolute certainty. Pause. They really shouldn't have laughed. No, Elena agreed. They really shouldn't have. After hanging up, Elena worked until 3 a.m., drafted her board presentation, prepared her statement for the Ashfords, outlined her PR strategy, researched every business reporter who might cover this, and thought about her mother. Maria Martinez died 3 years ago. 30 years cleaning houses, always professional, always dignified, even when employers treated her like she was invisible. Even when they made racist comments about her accent. Even when they threw her out without notice. Mija, her mother used to say, people show you who they are. Believe them the first time. Elena believed Michael the moment she watched him snap at that server. Believed his parents when they smiled at his cruelty. Believed all of them when they laughed while wine dripped from her face. Now they would believe her. Sunday morning, Elena's board meeting lasted 4 hours. She presented everything. Research on Ashford Industries, documented harassment, declining financials, pending lawsuits, then the video from Saturday night. The conference room went silent, watching Elena's humiliation in high definition. Jesus Christ, her CFO muttered. His parents applauded. The question, Elena said calmly, is whether Phoenix Global wants to partner with a company whose leadership demonstrates this character. Not poor judgment, not drunken behavior, calculated cruelty performed for an audience with family approval. They'll argue it was personal, not professional, one board member said. And I'll say character is character. Elena pulled up her next slide. I've contacted Titanium Enterprises. Marcus Chen is interested in the joint venture we declined because we were pursuing Ashford. His company is stable, ethical, and offering terms 20% better. We lose nothing by canceling except association with people who treat others as beneath them. The vote was unanimous. Cancel Ashford. Move forward with Titanium. Sunday evening, Elena had dinner with Marcus Chen. By 10 p.m., the Titanium deal was done. Terms better than Ashford ever offered. Everything was in place. Monday morning, 6 a.m. Elena walked into her building wearing a black power suit. Sarah met her at the elevator. The Ashfords called 3 times yesterday. Richard sounded confident. Victoria sounded impatient. Michael didn't call. They're not worried yet. They arrived at 8:45, 15 minutes early. Richard wanted to wait in your office. I said no. Where are they? Conference room A. Arguing. Michael looks hungover. Victoria keeps checking her phone. Richard's pacing. Elena pulled up security feed on her computer. There they were. Michael slouched in his chair, sunglasses on indoors. Victoria examining her manicure. Richard reviewing papers. The contract they thought they'd be signing. None looked concerned. Why would they be? They thought they were here to save their company. Thought Elena was a consultant they'd humiliated at a party. They had no idea this was about consequences. Exactly. Elena walked into conference room A. Sarah followed. General counsel, head of PR, 2 security guards. Richard stood immediately, hand extended, smile bright. Ms. Martinez, thank you so much for... He froze. Hand dropped, smile vanished. Victoria's head snapped up, eyes widening. You! Michael removed his sunglasses slowly. Wait, this is a joke, right? Elena sat at the head of the table. Her team flanked her. No smile, no handshake, no pretense. Mr. and Mrs. Ashford. Michael. Her voice was professional cool. Thank you for coming. Sit down. This won't take long. Richard's face went pale. He sank into his chair like his legs gave out. Victoria's hand trembled as she set down her phone. Michael looked between Elena and his parents, confusion shifting to fear. There's been a mistake. Richard said finally. "We're here to sign a $500 million partnership." Yes, that was the plan. Was, Victoria's voice cracked. What do you mean was? Elena pulled out a single sheet of paper, slid it across the table. Official cancellation of our proposed partnership. Effective immediately, Phoenix Global will not be entering into any business relationship with Ashford Industries. Absolute silence. Richard stared at the paper like it was written in a foreign language. Victoria made a small sound, half gasp, half whimper. Michael just stared, mouth opening and closing. "You can't do this," Richard said. "We have a verbal agreement. You have nothing." Elena's tone didn't change. "No signed contracts, no binding commitments. We have exactly what Saturday night left us with. Nothing." Saturday night? Richard's confusion was genuine. What does a charity gala have to do with? Elena pulled out her tablet, turned it around, pressed play. The video filled the screen. Michael's hand on Elena's arm, her warning, his refusal, the wine glass raising, the cascade, the laughter, the applause. Elena's face as wine dripped from her chin. Victoria watched herself clap and smile. Richard heard his own voice calling encouragement. Michael saw himself in high definition, drunk, cruel, confident there'd be no consequences. The video ended. Elena withdrew the tablet. "That," she said quietly, "is what Saturday night has to do with business. That is why I will never under any circumstances partner with your family or your company." Michael found his voice first. "That was just I was drunk. It was a joke." A joke. Elena's eyes locked onto his. "You assaulted me in front of 300 witnesses because you thought I was nobody important. Your parents applauded because they agreed. You treated me like trash because you genuinely believed your family's money made you superior." "We didn't know who you were," Victoria burst out. "If we'd known, that's exactly my point." Elena leaned forward. "You didn't care who I was. You only care now because I have power to destroy you. That tells me everything about your character, your values, your fitness as partners." "Ms. Martinez, please." Richard's voice shook. "We made a terrible mistake. Michael was drunk. Victoria and I weren't thinking. We're deeply sorry. If you'll just give us another chance." "No. Our company needs this deal. You know that. Without this partnership, your company will collapse. Yes, I'm aware." Richard's hands flattened on the table. "You're willing to destroy 800 jobs to make a point. I'm willing to refuse partnership with people who lack basic human decency. Your employee's hardship is unfortunate, but it's not my responsibility. It's yours. You created a company culture that tolerates harassment. You raised a son who thinks cruelty is entertainment. You built this house of cards. I'm just declining to help you keep it standing." Michael slammed his hand on the table. "This is insane, so I poured wine on you, big deal. You're going to ruin my family over a dress." Elena's smile was cold. "No, Michael. I'm protecting my company from association with yours. There's a difference." "You self-righteous?" Michael started to rise. Security stepped forward. Michael froze. "Sit down," Elena said softly. "Or leave. Your choice." Michael sat, face purple with rage. "You think you're better than us?" "Yes," Elena said simply. "I do, because I've never poured wine on someone for sport, never laughed at someone's humiliation. When I was building Phoenix Global from nothing, working 18-hour days, sleeping on my office floor, eating ramen for every meal, I still treated every person I met with respect. Even people who told me I'd never succeed. Even people who slammed doors in my face. Even people who said a woman from my background had no business in their world." She stood. Her team stood with her. "This meeting is over. My PR team will release a statement this afternoon explaining our decision. We will not include the video from Saturday night, though we reserve the right if you retaliate or defame Phoenix Global in any way." "Wait." Victoria stood too, tears streaming. "Please. We'll do anything. Public apology. Donations in your name. You'll learn," Elena interrupted, "that actions have consequences. That wealth doesn't protect you from accountability. That people you step on might be the same people who hold your future in their hands. And she walked to the door, paused, looked back. One more thing. The server your son snapped his fingers at Saturday night, his name is James, 22 years old, working his way through law school. The woman you were rude to about champagne. Her name is Maria, same as my mother. Single parent raising 2 children. The hotel staff you treated like furniture. They have names, families, dreams, dignity. They deserved better than what your family showed them. What does that have to do with business? Richard asked desperately. Everything, Elena said. It has everything to do with business. Because business isn't just about money and contracts, it's about people. And I choose to work with people who understand that basic truth. She left conference room A, door closing on the Ashford family's stunned silence. In the elevator, Sarah spoke. That was the most professional destruction I've ever witnessed. I'm not finished. Elena's voice was steel. Call every business publication on my media list. I'm giving interviews starting tomorrow. Contact HR. I want a dedicated team reaching out to every Ashford Industries employee. Their leaders failed them. We won't. The elevator doors opened. Also, call my mother's foundation. Double our scholarship fund for service workers' children. Effective immediately. Name it after Maria Martinez and every person like her who was told they didn't belong. Sarah's eyes shone. She would be so proud. I hope so, Elena said softly. I really hope so. In conference room A, the Ashford family sat in shock. Michael's phone buzzed, then Richard's, then Victoria's. News alerts flooding in. Phoenix Global cancels major partnership citing ethics concerns. Elena Martinez, tech CEO, takes stand against workplace cruelty. Ashford Industries faces collapse after deal falls through. Calls started immediately. Board members, investors, lawyers, journalists, all demanding answers. All wanting to know, how did you mess this up? Michael stared at his phone, watching his world disintegrate in real time. His father sat with his head in his hands. His mother wept silently. 30 floors above them, Elena Martinez sat at her desk, opened her laptop, began drafting her next move. This wasn't about revenge. It was about sending a message that would echo through every boardroom, every business school, every company that thought wealth bought immunity from basic human decency. The message was simple. Respect isn't negotiable. Character matters. And the people you humiliate today might be the ones who destroy you tomorrow. Michael Ashford learned that lesson Saturday night. By Wednesday, the whole world would know it. But what Michael didn't know yet, what would haunt him for years, was that this was just the beginning. Elena Martinez wasn't just canceling a deal. She was about to dismantle everything the Ashford family had built piece by piece until nothing remained but the memory of the night they chose cruelty over character. And she was going to enjoy every single moment. The Ashford family sat frozen in conference room A for exactly 90 seconds after Elena left. Then all 3 phones exploded simultaneously. Michael looked at his screen. 23 missed calls, 47 texts. His hands started shaking. Dad, his voice cracked. Dad, what just happened? Richard didn't answer. He was staring at his own phone face, gray as concrete. Victoria made a choking sound, scrolling frantically through message after message. We need to fix this. Richard stood abruptly, knocking his chair backward. We need to call her back. Apologize properly. Offer more money. You can leave. Sarah appeared in the doorway, 2 security guards behind her. Ms. Martinez has another meeting in 10 minutes. You need to go. We're not leaving until we speak with her again. Victoria's voice pitched high, desperate. You don't understand. We need this deal. Your company is not Ms. Martinez's concern. Sarah's tone was professional ice. Security will escort you out. Michael finally found his voice. Do you know who we are? Do you know what our family... Yes. Sarah cut him off. We know exactly who you are. That's why you're being escorted out. The security guard stepped forward. Not threatening, just present. Richard grabbed his papers with shaking hands. This isn't over. We have lawyers. We'll sue for breach of... There's no contract to breach Mr. Ashford. You know that. Your lawyers know that. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. They left. No choice. walked through Phoenix Global's pristine lobby while employees watched, whispered, knew. Outside their town car waited. All three climbed in silently. Then Victoria exploded. How could you be so stupid? She whirled on Michael. How could you? Do you have any idea what you've done? I didn't know who she was, Michael shot back. How was I supposed to? You weren't supposed to pour wine on anyone. Richard's voice was louder than Michael had ever heard it. You weren't supposed to humiliate people for entertainment. We raised you better than this. You. Michael laughed bitterly. You raised me, Dad. You've been buying your way out of my mistakes since I was 16. You think I don't remember? Every girl I harassed, every employee I abused, every scandal you made it disappear with checks and NDAs. You taught me I could do whatever I wanted. Victoria slapped him. Hard, across the face. The car went silent. Michael touched his cheek, stunned. His mother had never hit him before. Never. Don't you dare, Victoria whispered. Don't you dare blame us for your behavior. We gave you everything. Everything. And you threw it away for what? To impress your worthless friends. Victoria, Richard started. No. She turned on her husband. And you, standing there Saturday night, laughing, applauding, I saw you. I saw the look on your face when he poured that wine. You were proud. I thought, Richard's voice broke. I thought she was nobody. I thought, that makes it worse. Victoria was crying now, mascara running. That makes it so much worse. You thought she was nobody, so it was okay. When did we become these people, Richard? When did we become the kind of people who think cruelty is acceptable if the victim isn't important? Nobody answered. Michael's phone rang, his best friend Tyler. Don't answer it, Richard said. Michael answered anyway. Tyler, listen, I need... Dude, is it true? Tyler's voice was excited, not concerned. Did you seriously pour wine on Elena Martinez? The Elena Martinez? I didn't know who... Bro, that's insane. It's all over social media. Someone posted video from the hotel. Your trending, entitled rich boy is literally trending on Twitter. Michael felt his stomach drop. What video? From the gala, it's everywhere. You grabbing her arm, pouring the wine, your parents laughing, dude. It's got like 3 million views already. Michael hung up. Opened Twitter with shaking hands. There he was. Top trending. Video after video. The same scene from different angles. His hand on Elena's arm. Her warning. His refusal. The wine cascading. The laughter and the comments. Thousands of them. This is what's wrong with rich people. His parents applauded. What kind of monsters? Elena Martinez is my new hero. Canceled his entire family with one meeting. I hope they lose everything. Michael scrolled through replies, watching his life become a cautionary tale in real time. Someone had already identified him, posted his LinkedIn profile, his Instagram screenshots of deleted posts where he'd bragged about expensive purchases and exclusive parties. Another account was compiling stories from Ashford Industries employees. Allegations of harassment, discrimination, hostile work environment. A third was tracking Ashford Industries' stock price. Private company, but someone had access to internal valuations, down 18% in 3 hours. Turn it off, Richard said quietly. Michael, turn it off. But Michael couldn't stop scrolling, couldn't stop reading, couldn't stop watching himself destroy everything his grandfather had built. His phone rang again. Their company's CFO. Richard answered this time. Put it on speaker. Richard, we have a problem. James Chen's voice was tight. A big problem. Wellington Capital just pulled their investment. That's 40 million gone. Berkshire Partners called. They're pulling out too. That's another 60 million. What? Richard's face went white. They can. Morality clauses. They're citing reputational damage. Richard, the video is everywhere. Our other investors are panicking. The board wants an emergency meeting. And the banks? James paused. Fifth National called our loans. All of them. We have 30 days to repay 200 million or they seize assets. Victoria made a sound like she'd been punched. That's not possible, Richard said. We've been with Fifth National for 40 years. They wouldn't... Their CEO's daughter works in tech. Apparently, she's a huge fan of Elena Martinez, did an internship at Phoenix Global 2 years ago. She convinced her father that association with us is toxic right now. Michael felt like he was drowning, suffocating. This couldn't be real. How bad is it? Richard asked. Total damage. If we can't replace the Phoenix Global deal, we have 6 months, maybe less. We'll have to start layoffs next week. Sell assets. Close divisions. Richard, we're talking about dismantling 70 years of... I'll fix it. Richard's voice was desperate. I'll call Elena Martinez, apologize, offer more money. She's a businesswoman. Everyone has a price. Richard, stop. James's voice was gentle now, sad. I've worked with you for 20 years. I'm telling you as a friend, this isn't about money. You can't buy your way out of this one. What your family did Saturday night, what happened this morning, that's a character issue. And character issues don't disappear with cash. Richard hung up. Silence in the car. We need a lawyer, Victoria said finally. PR crisis management, damage control. We can... Mom, it's over. Michael's voice was empty. It's already over. Don't say that. Victoria grabbed his arm. Don't you dare say that. We're Ashfords, we don't give up. We fight. With what? Michael looked at his mother. Really looked at her. Saw the fear behind her anger. The desperation. Mom, she destroyed us in one meeting. One meeting. We walked in there thinking we had power, and she showed us we had nothing. No power, no leverage, nothing. Richard was making calls now. Rapid fire. Each one shorter than the last. Marcus, it's Richard Ashford. I need... Yes, I know about the video. Listen, we're looking for bridge financing. You can't even... I understand. Thank you anyway. Jennifer Richard Ashford. I'm calling about... You saw it. Right. No, I understand. Yes. Goodbye. Thomas, please just hear me. You're serious, 25 years of friendship, and... Fine. Fine. Goodbye. Each rejection hit like a physical blow. Michael watched his father age a decade in 20 minutes. By the time they reached Ashford Industries headquarters, the damage was complete. Employees stood in clusters whispering, looking scared, looking angry. Michael walked through the lobby with his parents. People didn't greet them, didn't acknowledge them, just stared. In the elevator, Victoria was trembling. We need to make a statement, tell our side of the story, Sale. What side? Michael asked. The side where I assaulted a woman and you applauded. You didn't assault, Victoria started. Mom, I poured wine on her head after she told me to let go. After she warned me I did it anyway because I thought I could. Because you and Dad taught me I could do whatever I wanted without consequences. The elevator doors opened. They walked into chaos. Employees everywhere, talking, crying, packing boxes. The company's head of HR, Patricia Morrison, stood in the center of it all trying to maintain order. She saw Richard and rushed over. We're getting calls. Reporters, competitors, headhunters trying to poach our people. Richard, what's happening? Is it true? Phoenix Global canceled? Yes. Patricia's face crumpled. Then it's really over. We can't survive without that deal. The employees know it. They're already updating their resumes. Tell them, Richard started. Tell them what? Patricia's voice broke. That their jobs are safe, that would be a lie. Tell them the CEO's family humiliated a woman at a party, and now we're all paying the price. Because that's the truth, Richard. That's what I'm hearing from every employee here. They saw the video. They know what you did, and they're ashamed to work here. Michael walked away, couldn't listen anymore, went to his office. It felt foreign now. The expensive desk, leather chair, university diplomas on the wall, photos of him with powerful people who wouldn't return his calls now. He sat down, opened his email, 400 unread messages. He started scrolling, business contacts politely severing ties, former friends suddenly busy, invitations rescinded, memberships revoked, his entire social circle evaporating in real time. But one email stood out, from an account he didn't recognize. Subject line, "You need to see this." Michael opened it. It was a link to a business news article, published 15 minutes ago. Phoenix Global CEO Elena Martinez speaks out, "Character matters more than capital." Michael clicked. The article featured Elena's first interview since the cancellation. Professional photo, strong, confident, everything Michael wasn't. "I built Phoenix Global on the principle that respect isn't negotiable," Martinez told reporters. "When I see people treat service workers like they're invisible, when I see wealthy families applaud cruelty, when I see sons assault women and fathers encourage it, I know those aren't people I want to partner with. Some will say I'm being too harsh, that business is business, that personal behavior shouldn't affect professional relationships. To them, I say, show me how you treat people when you think they don't matter, and I'll show you who you really are. The Ashford family showed me exactly who they are Saturday night, and I believed them." The article continued, "Elena didn't just cancel the deal. She was offering jobs to every qualified Ashford Industries employee, had already set up interviews for next week, was creating a placement fund for those who didn't qualify for Phoenix Global positions. She was saving the employees while letting the company die." Michael kept reading. "My mother spent 30 years cleaning houses for wealthy families." Martinez continued. "Some treated her with dignity. Most didn't. She came home crying more times than I can count. Not because the work was hard, she never complained about hard work, but because people who had so much couldn't spare basic human kindness for a woman scrubbing their toilets. Saturday night, I watched the Ashford family treat servers, staff, and myself with that same contempt. I watched them laugh at humiliation like it was entertainment. And I made a choice. I chose dignity over dollars. I chose respect over revenue. And I'd make that choice again." The article had already been shared 40,000 times, comments overwhelmingly supportive. Michael closed his laptop, put his head in his hands. A knock on his door. Tyler walked in without waiting for permission. "Dude, we need to talk about damage control. I've been thinking—" "Get out." "What, Mike, come on. I'm trying to help. We spin this right, maybe you come out looking—" "Get out." Michael looked up. "You're not my friend Tyler. You never were. You just liked being around money. Well, the money's gone. So you can go too." Tyler's face hardened. "You're lost, man. I was trying to help." "No, you were trying to stay close to power. But I don't have power anymore. So please, leave." Tyler left, slammed the door. Michael sat alone in his office, listened to employees outside packing up their desks, crying, saying goodbye to colleagues who'd become friends, all because of him. His phone buzzed. Text from his friend Marcus. "Sorry, man. My dad said I can't hang out with you anymore. Bad for the family image. Hope you understand." Another from Justin Dude, "The club revoked your membership. They cited the morality clause in the bylaws. That's rough." Another from his ex-girlfriend. "I'm so glad I dodged that bullet. You always were a selfish asshole. Now everyone knows it." Michael deleted his social media apps. All of them. Couldn't take it anymore. Then he called his assistant. "Jenny, clear my schedule for the rest of the week." "Sir, you don't have a schedule anymore. Everyone canceled." "Right. Of course they did." He hung up, sat in silence. His father appeared in the doorway, looked 100 years old. "We need to go home," Richard said quietly. "The board wants us out of the building. They're bringing in crisis consultants. We've been asked to step down from active management. They fired us. We're still shareholders, still on the board, but we're no longer running day-to-day operations. They think our presence is problematic." Michael stood, grabbed his jacket, left everything else. His desk photos, his diplomas, his awards. None of it mattered anymore. They met Victoria in the lobby. She'd been crying. Mascara destroyed, hair messy, looking nothing like the polished woman who'd applauded Saturday night. The three of them walked out of Ashford Industries together. Employees watched them go. Some looked sympathetic. Most looked angry. A few looked satisfied. In the parking garage, their driver wasn't there. "He quit," Victoria said dully. "Texted me an hour ago. Said he got a better offer from Phoenix Global. They're hiring our people, Richard. She's taking everyone. They stood there. No driver, no plan, no idea what to do next. Richard pulled out his phone, called an Uber. An Uber. Richard Ashford, who'd had a personal driver for 30 years, was calling an Uber. The car arrived, basic sedan, not the town car they were used to. They climbed in silently. The driver recognized them. "Hey, you're those people from the video, the wine thing?" Nobody responded. "That was crazy, man. I mean, I don't know the whole story, but you guys really messed up, huh?" "Please just drive," Victoria said quietly. They rode in silence to the family estate. Their mansion in Greenwich, 15,000 square feet, Olympic pool, tennis court, gardens maintained by a team of 6, all of it about to be seized by the bank. Inside the house felt empty, hollow. Staff had quit, most of them. Only Maria, their housekeeper of 20 years, remained. She met them in the foyer, face stern. "Maria," Richard started. "I'm leaving too," she said. "End of the week. I stayed to tell you in person." "We can increase your salary," Victoria said desperately. "Whatever you need." "It's not about money, Mrs. Ashford." Maria's voice was quiet, dignified. "It's about respect. I've worked for you for 20 years. 20 years. And Saturday night, I watched you laugh while your son poured wine on a woman's head. I watched you applaud. And I realized something. You never saw me either. Not really. I was just Maria the housekeeper. Not a person. Not someone with feelings, just staff." "That's not true," Victoria protested. "We've always treated you kindly," Maria interrupted. "Sure, when you remembered I existed. But Mrs. Ashford, can you tell me my daughter's name? I've talked about her 100 times. What's her name? Silence." "You don't know," Maria said softly. 20 years and you don't know my daughter's name. That's what Saturday night showed me. That's why I'm leaving." She walked upstairs to pack her things. Victoria sat down heavily on the marble staircase, put her face in her hands. "Her daughter's name is Sophia," she whispered. "How did I not remember that?" Richard said nothing, just walked to his study, closed the door. Michael went to his room, locked himself in, lay on his bed, stared at the ceiling. 24 hours ago, he'd been on top of the world. Wealthy, powerful, untouchable. Now he had nothing. No job, no friends, no future. And it was entirely his fault. His phone buzzed. One more notification. An email from Elena Martinez. His heart stopped. He opened it with shaking hands. "Mr. Ashford, I'm writing to inform you that Phoenix Global will be holding job interviews for all qualified Ashford Industries employees next week. We understand that many workers will be displaced through no fault of their own, and we take that responsibility seriously. However, I want to be clear, this offer does not extend to you or your family. Your behavior Saturday night demonstrated a fundamental lack of character that makes you unsuitable for employment at Phoenix Global or any company I'm affiliated with. I hope you use this time to reflect on the kind of person you want to be. Wealth can be rebuilt. Reputation can be restored. But character, that's something you have to build from scratch. You destroyed your family's legacy in 30 seconds. The question is, what will you build in its place? Sincerely, Elena Martinez, CEO, Phoenix Global Technologies. Michael read it 3 times. Each time hurt more than the last. She wasn't just destroying them. She was challenging him, asking what kind of person he'd become. And he had no answer. Downstairs, Richard sat in his study surrounded by 70 years of family history. Photos of his grandfather founding Ashford Industries, his father expanding it, himself taking over. And now it would end with him. End with a video of his son pouring wine on a woman while he applauded. His legacy would be cruelty. Nothing more. Richard opened his laptop, started composing an email to the board. His resignation, effective immediately. It was the least he could do, the very least. In her room, Victoria stared at herself in the mirror, saw a stranger, someone who'd become so focused on status and wealth that she'd forgotten basic humanity. She thought about Elena Martinez's mother, cleaning houses for 30 years, enduring disrespect, raising a daughter who became a billionaire CEO. And she thought about herself. What had she built? What had she created besides a son who thought cruelty was entertainment? Victoria pulled out her phone, started scrolling through contacts, looking for someone who could help, someone who could fix this. But there was nobody. Every name was either a business contact who'd already severed ties or a social friend who'd already ghosted them. She was alone. They were all alone. And 3 miles away in her corner office at Phoenix Global, Elena Martinez was finishing her interview schedule for next week. 47 Ashford Industries employees, all qualified, all scared about their futures. She'd save them. Everyone she could. But the Ashfords, they'd save themselves. Or they wouldn't. Either way, Elena was done with them. She had bigger things to build. A foundation for service workers' children, a mentorship program for women from difficult backgrounds, a corporate culture that valued character as much as capability. Saturday night, Michael Ashford poured wine on her head. By Wednesday, she'd poured concrete over his entire family's future. And she didn't feel guilty. Not even a little bit. Because some lessons can only be learned the hard way. And the Ashfords. They were about to get an education money couldn't buy. 3 days after the cancellation, Elena's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Every major business publication wanted an interview. Morning shows, podcasts. TED wanted her for their next conference. Harvard Business School requested a case study interview. Sarah walked into Elena's office with the 15th media request of the day. Bloomberg wants an exclusive. They're offering primetime coverage. Set it up. Elena didn't look up from her laptop. But I want editorial approval. No softballs. I want them to ask the hard questions. About the Ashfords. About everything. Character in business, ethics versus profit, the cost of dignity. Make sure they understand I'm not backing down. Sarah hesitated. Elena, our board is getting nervous. Some members think you're being too public, too political. They're worried about backlash. Elena finally looked up. Which members? Stevens, Portman, Davidson. Schedule a call with them. Today, I'll address their concerns directly. Elena's voice was steel. But make it clear I'm not apologizing for having standards. Sarah left. Elena returned to her emails. One caught her attention. From Patricia Morrison, Ashford Industries, head of HR, Ms. Martinez. I know I have no right to ask this, but I'm desperate. Ashford Industries is laying off 400 employees next week. These are good people, hard workers. They had nothing to do with what happened Saturday night. I saw your job placement offer. Thank you for that, but I'm writing about something else. The remaining 400 employees, the ones we're keeping, they're terrified. Morale is destroyed. They're embarrassed to say they work here. Is there any way you could speak to them? Not about jobs, just help them understand they're not defined by their leadership's failures. I know it's asking a lot, but you're the only person they might actually listen to. Patricia Morrison, Elena read it twice, then picked up her phone. Patricia Morrison, this is Elena Martinez. I got your email. Silence on the other end, then a shaky breath. Ms. Martinez, I didn't think you'd actually call. You asked. I'm answering. You want me to speak to your employees? Only if you're willing. I know what our family did to you. I wouldn't blame you if... When? Patricia sounded shocked. When do you want me there tomorrow, Friday? You're serious. You'd actually come here. Your employees didn't pour wine on me, Patricia. Richard and Victoria and Michael did. Why should 400 people suffer for 3 people's cruelty? Elena pulled up her calendar. I can do Friday afternoon, 2 p.m., 1 hour. That work? Yes. God, yes. Thank you. Ms. Martinez, thank you. Don't thank me yet. I'm not going easy on the Ashfords. If your employees ask me questions, I'll answer honestly. I understand. That's exactly what they need. Elena hung up, immediately called Sarah back in. Cancel my Friday afternoon. I'm going to Ashford Industries. Sarah's eyes widened. You're what? Their employees need to hear that they're not their bosses, that they can survive this. I'm going to tell them. Elena, the optics of you walking into that building will show exactly what I've been saying, that I care about people, not punishment, that character matters, that we don't abandon workers because their leadership failed. Elena stood. Set it up. And Sarah, I want media there. Controlled access. I want people to see this. By Thursday morning, news had leaked. Elena Martinez to address Ashford Industries employees was trending across every platform. The reaction was explosive. This woman is a class act. She destroys the family but saves the workers. That's integrity. The Ashfords must be losing their minds right now. They were. Richard saw the news alert at 6 a.m., dropped his coffee mug. It shattered across the kitchen floor. No. He grabbed his phone. No, she can't do this. Victoria appeared in the doorway. Can't do what? She's going to Ashford Industries. Tomorrow. To speak to the employees. To our employees. Victoria's face went white. She's rubbing it in. She's going there to humiliate us further. We need to stop this. Richard was already dialing. We're still on the board. We can invoke what, Richard? Victoria's laugh was bitter. What power do we have left? The board hates us. The employees hate us. We're toxic. She knows it. Everyone knows it. Richard's call went to voicemail. He tried another board member. Same result. A third. No answer. They were being iced out of their own company. Michael woke up to 17 texts about Elena's visit, all from people who weren't really his friends, just vultures watching the crash. He didn't respond to any of them. Instead, he got dressed. Real clothes, not the designer suits he used to wear. Jeans, plain shirt, clothes that didn't scream wealth. Then he drove to Ashford Industries. Hadn't been back since they'd been asked to leave. Wasn't sure they'd even let him in the building. But he had to see this. Had to watch Elena Martinez walk into his family's company and do what he'd never done. Actually care about the employees. Security stopped him at the entrance. Mr. Ashford, you don't have authorization to... I know, I'm not going inside. I just want to watch from the lobby. Please. The guard looked uncomfortable. Sir, I don't think... 5 minutes. I'll stay in the public area. I won't cause problems. I just need to see this. The guard studied his face. Saw something there that made him nod. 5 minutes, public area only, and if anyone complains, you leave immediately. Thank you. Michael sat in the lobby, watched employees arrive for work, watched them whisper and point, watched them look at him with disgust or pity or satisfaction. He deserved all of it. Friday afternoon arrived like a storm. Media vans parked outside Ashford Industries, reporters setting up, cameras everywhere. At 1:45 p.m., a black SUV pulled up. Elena Martinez stepped out wearing a navy suit. Professional. Powerful. Everything the Ashfords used to be. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Ms. Martinez, why are you here today? To speak with employees who deserve better than what their leadership gave them. Are you hiring more Ashford workers? We're interviewing everyone who wants a chance. Talent is talent regardless of where they've been. What would you say to the Ashford family right now? Elena paused, looked directly at the cameras. I'd say that accountability isn't punishment, it's education. And I hope they're learning. She walked into the building. Patricia Morrison met her in the lobby. Ms. Martinez, thank you for coming. The employees are gathered in the main conference center, about 380 people. They're nervous, scared, some are angry. At me, at everything, at the Ashfords for destroying the company, at themselves for not seeing it coming, at the situation. Patricia led her toward the conference center. I should warn you. Richard and Victoria tried to attend. We had to deny them access. They're not taking it well. They're here, outside, in the parking lot. They've been sitting in their car for an hour. Elena's jaw tightened. Let them sit. This isn't about them. They reached the conference center. Patricia opened the door. 380 employees filled the space. Silence fell when Elena entered. Hundreds of eyes watching, judging, hoping. Elena walked to the front. No notes, no prepared speech, just her and 380 people whose lives had been upended by cruelty. My name is Elena Martinez. Most of you know why I'm here, why I canceled the partnership with Ashford Industries, why your company is now fighting for survival. She paused. And I want you to know something right away. None of this is your fault. A woman in the front row started crying. You didn't pour wine on anyone, Elena continued. You didn't create a toxic culture. You didn't treat people like they were beneath you. You came to work, did your jobs, supported your families, and now you're paying the price for leadership failures that had nothing to do with you. Then why punish us? A man's voice from the back, angry. Why destroy the company and leave us with nothing? Elena looked at him. What's your name? David Chen. Engineering, 15 years here. David, I didn't destroy this company. The Ashfords did. They built a culture where cruelty was acceptable, where harassment was tolerated, where character didn't matter as long as the numbers looked good. That foundation was already cracked. I just refused to pour concrete over the cracks and pretend everything was fine. So we lose our jobs because they're assholes. Another voice, woman this time. That's fair. No, Elena said simply. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. That's why I'm here. That's why Phoenix Global is offering interviews to every qualified person in this room. That's why I'm setting up a placement fund for those who don't qualify for our positions. Because you deserve better than being collateral damage. What about those of us staying? David again. Those of us who still work here after the layoffs. What do we do? How do we rebuild when everyone sees us as the company where the boss's son assaulted a woman? You tell the truth. Elena's voice was firm. You say, I work at Ashford Industries. Our leadership failed catastrophically. We're rebuilding with new management, new values, new standards. Judge us by what we do now, not by what they did then. A long silence. Then a young woman stood. Ms. Martinez, I'm Jenny. I was at the hotel Saturday night. I was serving drinks. I saw what happened to you. And I need to say, thank you. Thank you for not letting them get away with it. Elena felt her throat tighten. You were there. I'm the one Michael snapped his fingers at earlier that night. Called me slow. Made me feel like dirt. Jenny's voice shook. I went home crying. And then I saw what he did to you, and I thought even rich, powerful women get treated like this. But then you fought back. You showed us that we don't have to accept it. Other hands went up. More stories. He screamed at me for bringing the wrong coffee. Victoria made racist comments about my accent. Richard told me I was lucky to have a job here, like he was doing me a favor. Story after story, pattern after pattern, years of abuse from leadership who thought their wealth made them untouchable. Elena listened to every single one. When they finished, she spoke quietly. Everything you just described, that's not normal. That's not acceptable. And it ends now. Whether Ashford Industries survives or not, that culture ends today. Because you... She gestured to everyone in the room. You are the company. Not Richard, not Victoria, not Michael. You. And you deserve to work somewhere that respects you. Will you hire all of us? Someone asked, desperate. Can Phoenix Global? I can't hire everyone. I wish I could. But I can promise you this. Everyone who interviews at Phoenix Global will be judged on their skills, their character, their potential. Not on where they worked before. Not on their former boss's mistakes. And for those who don't land at Phoenix Global, I'll personally connect you with other companies. I'll make calls, write recommendations, use every contact I have. Why? David's voice again, softer now. Why would you do that for us? Because my mother cleaned houses for 20 years. She worked for people who treated her like furniture, who never learned her name, who blamed her for things she didn't do. And when she came home crying, I promised myself something. Elena's voice broke slightly. I promised that if I ever had power, I'd use it to protect people like her. People like you. People who work hard and deserve dignity. The room was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Then the entire room erupted. Elena stood there overwhelmed as 380 people gave her a standing ovation. Outside in the parking lot, Richard and Victoria sat in their Mercedes, engine off, windows up. They'd watched Elena arrive, watched the media frenzy, watched her walk into their building like she owned it. "We should leave," Victoria said, voice empty. "We shouldn't be here. I need to see this." Richard's hands gripped the steering wheel. "I need to understand what we lost." Through the building's windows, they could see the conference center, could see the standing ovation, could see Elena Martinez receiving the respect they'd never earned. "She's taking everything," Victoria whispered. "Our company, our employees, our reputation, everything." "No." Richard's voice was hollow. "We gave it away. Saturday night, we gave it all away." Michael watched from the lobby, saw the employees filing out after Elena's speech, saw their faces. They looked different, lighter, like they'd been given permission to hope again. He saw Patricia Morrison escort Elena back toward the entrance. Saw them talking, saw Patricia crying and Elena hugging her. Then Elena saw him. She stopped. Their eyes met across the lobby. Michael stood slowly, didn't know what to say, didn't know if he had the right to say anything. Elena walked toward him. Patricia stayed back, giving them space. "Michael." Her voice was neutral, not warm, not cold, just factual. "Ms. Martinez, I didn't mean to intrude. I was just—" His voice failed. "Watching?" "Yeah." They stood in silence, employees walking past them, staring, whispering. "That was a good thing you did," Michael said finally. "Talking to them, giving them hope. They needed that. They deserve that." "I know." Michael looked at his shoes. "I know they do. I never thought about what they deserved. I only thought about what I wanted. And now I don't know what I want or who I am or how to fix what I broke." He looked up at her. "I read your email about building character from scratch. I've been thinking about that. And I don't know how. I don't know where to start." Elena studied him, saw something different than the arrogant boy from Saturday night. Something broken, possibly something redeemable. "You start by telling the truth," she said quietly. "To yourself first, then to everyone else." "What truth? That you were cruel because you could be. That you hurt people because it made you feel powerful. That you were raised to believe wealth made you better than everyone else. And that belief was wrong." Michael felt tears burning his eyes. "I was. It did. I was taught that. And it was wrong. All of it was wrong. Then say that, publicly. Not to save your company or your reputation, but because it's true. Because people deserve to hear it. Nobody will believe me. They'll think I'm just trying to save face. Probably." And Elena's expression didn't change. "But you say it anyway. Not for them. For you. Because character isn't about what people believe. It's about who you choose to be when no one's watching." She turned to leave. "Ms. Martinez," Michael's voice stopped her. "Will I ever be able to fix this? Really fix it?" Elena looked back. "I don't know, Michael. That depends entirely on whether you're willing to do the work. Real work. Years of it. Without guarantee of reward or recognition. Are you— I don't know." "Then that's your answer." She walked toward the exit. "But for what it's worth, admitting you don't know is the first honest thing I've heard you say." She left. Media swarmed her immediately. Michael stood alone in the lobby of his family's dying company, watching through the windows as Elena Martinez gave another interview about character and consequence and choosing dignity over dollars. She was everything he'd never been, everything he might never become, but maybe, just maybe, everything he could try to be. Patricia Morrison approached him quietly. "Michael, you need to leave. Employees are getting uncomfortable." "I know. I'm sorry." He headed toward the door, then paused. "Patricia, the employees you just laid off. Do you have their contact information?" "Why?" "Because I want to call them. Apologize, personally. Not as the VP's son, just as the person who helped destroy their livelihoods. Patricia stared at him. You're serious? Yes. Michael, they don't want to hear from you. Some of them hate you. A few have made threats. I know, but I need to try. I need them to know I understand what I did. He met her eyes. Will you give me their information? Patricia considered this. I'll send you a list. But Michael, if even one person feels harassed or pressured, I'm cutting you off. Understand? Understood. Thank you. He left Ashford Industries for the second time that week. But this time felt different. This time he wasn't running from consequences. He was walking toward them. That evening, Elena gave her Bloomberg interview. Prime time. Millions watching. The interviewer, Marcus Stone, didn't hold back. As Martinez critics say, you're being vindictive, that you're destroying an entire company over a personal slight. It wasn't a personal slight, Marcus. It was assault, witnessed by 300 people, and it revealed a pattern of behavior that made Ashford Industries unsuitable as a partner. But 800 jobs are being affected by Richard and Victoria and Michael Ashford's choices, not mine. I didn't create their toxic culture. I didn't raise a son who thinks cruelty is entertainment. I didn't applaud when that son assaulted a woman. They did, and now they're facing consequences. Some say you're using your power to punish people who embarrassed you. Elena leaned forward. Marcus, let me be very clear. If Michael Ashford had poured wine on me and his parents had been horrified, had immediately apologized, had shown any indication they understood the gravity of what happened, we might be having a different conversation. But they didn't. They laughed. They applauded. They demonstrated that cruelty was not only acceptable to them, it was celebrated. So this is about character. Everything in business is about character. Show me a CEO who treats employees like garbage, and I'll show you a company culture that's toxic from top to bottom. Show me a family that raises entitled children who face no consequences, and I'll show you future leaders who'll destroy everything they touch. You're speaking from experience. My mother cleaned houses for people like the Ashfords. I watched what that did to her. Watched her come home crying because wealthy clients blamed her for things she didn't do. Accused her of stealing when their own children misplaced items. Paid her late or not at all because they knew she was desperate. Elena's voice intensified. Those people had all the power, and they used it to make a hardworking woman feel worthless. I swore I'd never become them, and I swore that if I ever had power, I'd use it differently. By destroying families who wrong you. By refusing to enable families who've been destroying others for years. The Ashfords didn't start being cruel Saturday night, Marcus. They've been cruel for decades. Ask their former employees. Ask the servers who've worked their events. Ask anyone who had the misfortune of being in service to them. Saturday night wasn't an aberration. It was who they've always been. I just finally saw it clearly. The interview went viral within an hour. Shared millions of times. Public opinion solidified. Team Elena. Not because she was destroying the Ashfords, but because she was defending everyone who'd ever been treated as less than. Richard watched the interview from his study, bottle of scotch beside him, half empty. Victoria watched from the bedroom, crying again, always crying now. Michael watched from his apartment, the small apartment he'd moved into after leaving the mansion. One bedroom, no view. Furnished with IKEA because he'd sold most of his expensive furniture to cover bills. He watched Elena speak with conviction about character and consequences, and he understood something for the first time. She wasn't his enemy, she was his mirror, showing him exactly who he'd been, exactly what he'd done, exactly how much damage cruelty could cause, and she was giving him a choice. Stay who he was, or become someone different. Michael pulled out the list Patricia had sent. 400 names, 400 people he'd helped hurt. He started at the top. Hello, Mr. Peterson. This is Michael Ashford. I know you don't want to hear from me, and I understand if you hang up. But I wanted to call and say I'm sorry. Truly sorry. For what happened to you, for my part in it. For everything. Click. Dial tone. He tried the next name. Mrs. Rodriguez Michael Ashford. I'm calling to apologize for... Go to hell. Click. And the next, and the next. 19 calls, 19 rejections, 19 people who told him exactly what they thought of him. He deserved every word. On the 20th call, a woman answered. "This is Sarah Mitchell." "Mrs. Mitchell, this is Michael Ashford. I'm calling to—" "I know who you are, and I know why you're calling. And you know what I'm going to let you say it. Because I want to hear you admit what you did." Michael swallowed hard. "I helped destroy your livelihood. I created a toxic work environment. I treated people like they were beneath me. I was cruel and entitled, and I never once thought about the consequences of my actions. And I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry." Silence on the line. Then Sarah spoke, voice shaking. "My daughter has leukemia. Do you know that she's 8 years old and she's fighting cancer? And I was about to hit my insurance threshold at Ashford Industries. The good insurance. The insurance that's keeping her alive. And now I don't know what I'm going to do." Michael felt like he'd been punched. "I didn't know. God, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can—" "There's nothing you can do, Michael. Except maybe grow up. Maybe become someone who actually cares about people instead of using them. Maybe learn that actions have consequences that ripple out beyond your comfortable little life." "I'm trying. I swear I'm trying." "Try harder." Click. Michael sat there, phone in his hand, tears streaming down his face. 20 calls, 20 pieces of his soul carved away, and he had 380 more to make. But for the first time in his life, Michael Ashford was doing something hard, something that hurt, something that mattered. He was being held accountable. And somewhere across the city, Elena Martinez was sleeping soundly, knowing that justice wasn't just about punishment. It was about forcing people to see what they'd done, and hoping, just hoping, that seeing might lead to changing. 3 months after the cancellation, Michael was washing dishes at Marco's Italian restaurant downtown. His hands were raw from hot water and industrial soap. His back ached from standing 12-hour shifts. His expensive watch was long gone sold to pay rent. "Michael, table 7 needs water," Antonio, the head server, called out. "On it." Michael grabbed a pitcher, pushed through the kitchen doors into the dining room, and froze. Elena Martinez sat at table 7 with 3 business associates. She was mid-conversation, laughing at something one of them said. She hadn't seen him yet. Michael's first instinct was to run, hide in the kitchen, send someone else. But Antonio was watching, and Michael needed this job, needed the money, needed the humility. He walked to the table, filled water glasses with shaking hands. Elena glanced up. Their eyes met. Recognition flickered across her face. "Michael." Her voice was neutral, not surprised, just acknowledging. "Ms. Martinez," he finished pouring. "Your server will be with you shortly." He turned to leave. "Wait." Elena's voice stopped him. "Everyone, this is Michael Ashford. Michael, these are my colleagues from Titanium Enterprises." Michael's face burned. She was introducing him, making this public, making him face them. "Ashford?" One of the men looked up sharply. "As in the wine video, Ashford?" "Yes." Michael's voice was barely audible. "That was me." Silence at the table. The colleagues exchanged glances, uncomfortable, judgmental. "Michael works here now," Elena said calmly. "He's been here for 3 months. Antonio tells me he's reliable, hardworking, never complains." Michael stared at her. "You know, Antonio, I invested in this restaurant 2 years ago. Small stake. I like supporting local businesses." Elena's expression didn't change. "Antonio mentioned he'd hired Richard Ashford's son. I told him to judge you on your work, not your history. Apparently you're doing well." "I'm trying." "Good." She picked up her menu. "That's all anyone can do. Try." Michael nodded and retreated to the kitchen. His heart was pounding so hard he thought it might explode. "You okay?" Antonio asked. "You look like you saw a ghost." "Ghost?" "That woman at table 7, she's the reason I'm here instead of running my family's company." Antonio raised an eyebrow. "She's also the reason you still have this job. When I told her your name during hiring, she could have told me to fire you. Instead, she said everyone deserves a chance to prove themselves through work. So you better make her right. Michael spent the rest of the shift hyper-aware of Elena's presence. Watched her laugh with colleagues. Watched her treat the servers with respect. Watched her leave a generous tip and thank everyone by name. She didn't speak to him again. Didn't need to. Her presence said everything. After closing, Michael walked home to his tiny apartment. One bedroom, barely furnished in a neighborhood his mother would have called dangerous. But it was his. Paid for with money he'd earned, not inherited. His phone buzzed. Text from his father. "We need to talk tomorrow. It's urgent." Michael hadn't spoken to Richard in 2 weeks. Hadn't spoken to Victoria in longer. They'd become strangers living in the same city, connected only by shared destruction. He texted back, "I work until 11 p.m. Come to Marco's if it's urgent." The next evening, Richard Ashford walked into Marco's Italian restaurant at 10:30 p.m., wearing an old suit, looking 20 years older than he had 3 months ago. Michael was wiping down tables. He saw his father enter and felt his stomach drop. "Dad, what are you doing here?" "You said to come here if it was urgent." Richard looked around. "So I'm here." "I'm working. Can this wait?" "No." Richard sat at a corner table. "We're losing the house. The bank is foreclosing. We have 30 days. Michael stopped wiping. "The Greenwich house?" "The mansion." "Everything. The house, the cars, the art collection. Everything we own is being seized to pay debts." Richard's voice was hollow. "Your mother is devastated. She's been packing for 3 days, crying over every item, every memory." "Where will you go?" "I don't know. We're looking at apartments, small ones, in neighborhoods like this." Richard gestured around. "Places we would have sneered at 3 months ago." Michael sat down across from his father. "I'm sorry." "Are you—" Richard looked at him. Really looked at him. "Or are you relieved you got out early? Got a job, started over. Maybe you're glad to be free of us." "I'm not glad about any of this, Dad. But yeah, I'm glad I left when I did. Glad I'm learning what real work feels like. What real consequences feel like." "Real consequences," Richard laughed bitterly. "You're 28, Michael. You have time to rebuild. I'm 63, this is my ending. I'm going to die poor and disgraced because my son poured wine on the wrong woman." Michael felt anger flare. "Don't put this all on me. You laughed, Dad, you applauded, you raised me to think I could treat people however I wanted. This isn't just my ending, it's yours too." "I know." Richard's voice broke. "I know it is. And I hate myself for it. I hate what I became. What we became." They sat in silence. The restaurant was almost empty now. Just Antonio behind the bar counting receipts. "I made 400 phone calls," Michael said quietly. "To everyone we laid off. Apologized to every single one. What did they say? Most hung up, some cursed me out. A few listened. One woman, Sarah Mitchell, told me her daughter has cancer. Told me our collapse might kill her child because she's losing her insurance." Michael's hands clenched. "That's what we did, Dad. That's what our cruelty cost." Richard put his head in his hands. "How do we fix it?" "I don't think we can. I think we just have to live with it. Do better. Be better. Hope that someday it means something." "Your mother won't survive this. You know that, right? She's falling apart. She hasn't eaten in days. Just cries and packs and cries some more." Michael thought about his mother. Victoria Ashford, who'd spent 40 years building a perfect image. Perfect clothes, perfect hair, perfect life. All of it destroyed by one night of cruelty. "Maybe falling apart is what she needs," Michael said. "Maybe we all needed to fall apart before we could rebuild into something that actually matters." Richard looked at his son. "When did you become wise?" "I'm not wise. I'm just tired of being the person I was." Antonio called out from the bar. "Michael, you're off the clock. Go home." Michael stood, looked at his father. "You want to walk with me? My apartment's 20 minutes from here." Richard hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, I'd like that." They walked through streets Richard had never walked before, past bodegas and laundromats and corner stores, past people living lives the Ashfords had never noticed. "It's different down here," Richard said. "Louder. More alive." "It's real," Michael replied. "That's the difference. Everything we had was a performance. This is just people living." They reached Michael's building. 4 stories, old brick, fire escapes. Nothing like the mansion in Greenwich. "You want to come up?" Michael asked. "No, I should get back to your mother." Richard paused. "Michael, I'm proud of you. For doing this. For taking responsibility. For trying to be better." "Don't be proud yet, Dad. I'm still figuring out what better even means." "That's why I'm proud. Because you're trying to figure it out instead of pretending you already know." Richard turned to leave, then stopped. "Elena Martinez. You saw her last night. She was at the restaurant, sat at one of my tables. What did she say? That I was doing well, that trying was all anyone could do." Michael met his father's eyes. "Dad, she could have destroyed me. Could have told Antonio to fire me. Could have made sure I never worked anywhere. But she didn't. She gave me a chance to prove myself. That's more than we ever gave anyone." "I know." Richard's voice was thick. "I know it is." He walked away into the night. Michael watched him go, feeling something he hadn't felt in months. Not forgiveness, not redemption, but maybe the beginning of understanding. The next week, Victoria Ashford had a breakdown. Complete. Total. Collapse. Richard found her in the mansion's master bedroom, surrounded by packing boxes, holding a photo album and sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe. "Victoria, sweetheart, you need to calm down." "I can't." She threw the album across the room. "I can't do this. I can't pack up 40 years of my life into boxes. I can't move into some terrible apartment. I can't be poor. We're not poor. We still have some assets. We'll be okay." "Okay." Victoria's laugh was hysterical. "Okay, Richard, I can't show my face anywhere. The country club revoked our membership. My friends won't return my calls. I went to the salon yesterday and women I've known for 20 years pretended they didn't see me. Then they weren't real friends. They were all I had." Victoria collapsed onto the bed. "Don't you understand? That life was all I had. Without it, I'm nothing. I'm nobody." Richard sat beside her, put his hand on her back. "You're my wife, Michael's mother. You're a person, Victoria. Not a persona. Not a performance. A person." "I don't know how to be just a person." Her voice was small, broken. "I've been Victoria Ashford for 40 years. I don't know who Victoria is without the Ashford. Maybe it's time to find out." Victoria cried herself to sleep that night, and the night after, and the night after that. On the 4th night, she made a decision. She called the women's shelter downtown, the one she'd donated to exactly once 5 years ago for tax purposes. "Hello, this is the Greenwich Women's Shelter. How can I help you? My name is Victoria Ashford. I'd like to volunteer." Silence on the line. Then carefully, "Mrs. Ashford, we're aware of recent events. Are you looking for positive publicity? Because we don't—" "No." Victoria's voice was firm. "I'm looking to help. I have time. I have skills. I need purpose. Do you need volunteers or not?" "We always need volunteers, but I need to be honest, Mrs. Ashford. Many of our residents are service workers, women who've worked for families like yours, women who've been treated poorly by employers. If you come here, you'll face that. You'll face their anger, their judgment. Can you handle that?" "I don't know," Victoria said honestly. "But I need to try. I need to do something that actually matters instead of just existing in my own misery. Orientation is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Don't be late." Victoria showed up at 8:45 a.m., wearing simple clothes, no jewelry, no makeup, looking like someone who wanted to work, not someone who wanted to be seen. The shelter director, Carmen Rodriguez, met her at the door. "Mrs. Ashford, welcome. Before we start, I need to be clear about something." "What's that?" "I saw the video, I saw what your family did, and it disgusted me." Carmen's voice was hard. But I also believe in second chances, so I'm giving you one. Don't make me regret it. I won't. The orientation lasted 3 hours. Victoria learned about domestic violence, about poverty, about women fleeing abusive situations with nothing but the clothes on their backs, about children traumatized by violence they'd witnessed, about the reality of life for people she'd never noticed before. Then Carmen took her to the kitchen. We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 60 women and children. You'll help with food prep and serving. You'll clean, you'll listen when they want to talk. And most importantly, you'll treat every single person here with dignity. Think you can do that? Yes. Then let's get to work. Victoria spent her first day chopping vegetables. Her hands, soft from years of manicures, blistered within an hour. Her back ached from standing. Her feet hurt. And she'd never felt more useful in her life. During lunch service, a woman approached her. Young, maybe 25, black eye, split lip. You're Victoria Ashford. Not a question, an accusation. Yes. You're the one from the video. The one whose son poured wine on that CEO. Yes. Victoria's voice was steady. That was my son. And I applauded. I'm ashamed of that. Deeply ashamed. The woman studied her. Why are you here trying to fix your image? No, trying to fix myself. Victoria met her eyes. I spent 40 years being cruel to people like you. People I thought were beneath me. I'm here because I need to learn that nobody is beneath anybody, and because I need to do something that actually helps instead of just hurting. The woman was quiet for a long moment. Then she held out her tray. I'll take the chicken, please. Victoria served her with shaking hands. What's your name? Maria. Victoria's breath caught. The same name as Elena's mother. The same name as their former housekeeper. It's nice to meet you, Maria. We'll see. Maria took her tray and walked away. Carmen appeared beside Victoria. That went better than expected. Maria usually doesn't talk to new volunteers for weeks. She hates me. Probably. But she gave you a chance. That's more than you gave Elena Martinez. Victoria worked at the shelter every day after that. 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. Learning names, hearing stories, understanding exactly how privileged and cruel she'd been. One afternoon, 3 weeks into volunteering, Maria approached her again. Mrs. Ashford, can we talk? Of course. And please call me Victoria. They sat in the shelter's common area. Maria twisted her hands together nervously. I need to tell you something. Before I came here, I worked as a housekeeper for rich families, and some of them treated me like furniture, like I was invisible, like I didn't have feelings or a family or dreams. I'm sorry you experienced that. One family was particularly bad. The wife would blame me for things I didn't do, accuse me of stealing when her kids misplaced items, talk about me in Spanish assuming I didn't understand, mock my accent. Victoria felt sick. Maria, it was you. Maria's voice was quiet, steady. You and Richard, I worked for you 12 years ago, for 6 months, until you fired me without notice because you said I'd stolen a bracelet. Your daughter found it later in her jewelry box. You never apologized? Never called to tell me I was right. Just let me leave with everyone thinking I was a thief. Victoria felt the room spinning. I don't remember that. Of course you don't. I was nobody to you. Just another housekeeper. Replaceable, forgettable. Maria stood. But I remembered you, Victoria. I remembered every cruel word, every accusation, every moment you made me feel worthless. Maria, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was terrible. I don't want your apology. Maria's voice was firm. I want you to understand what you did. Not just to me. To everyone you treated like they didn't matter. I want you to sit with that. Really sit with it. And then I want you to decide if you're going to keep being that person or become someone different. She walked away, leaving Victoria sitting alone, tears streaming down her face. That night, Victoria told Richard everything. About Maria, about the accusation, about how many people they'd hurt without even remembering. We were monsters, she whispered. Rich, powerful monsters. Were, Richard looked at her. Or are, I don't want to be anymore. I can't be anymore. Victoria grabbed his hands. Richard, we need to make this right. Really right. Not just accepting consequences. Actually repairing damage. How? I don't know. But we start by admitting what we did. All of it. Publicly. Richard pulled away. Victoria, if we do that, we'll destroy what little reputation we have left. Good. Her voice was steel. That reputation was built on cruelty. Let it burn. 2 days later, Richard and Victoria Ashford published an open letter in the New York Times. To everyone we've hurt, an apology and accounting. The letter was unflinching, detailed, honest. They listed their failures, their cruelty, their pattern of abuse toward service workers, their enabling of Michael's behavior, their applause when he assaulted Elena Martinez. They named names, including Maria Rodriguez, the housekeeper they'd falsely accused. They didn't make excuses, didn't ask for forgiveness, just acknowledged the truth and committed to doing better. The letter went viral within hours. Public reaction was split. Some praised their honesty. Some said it was too little too late. Some said they were just trying to rebuild their image. But one person's reaction mattered most. Elena Martinez read the letter in her office. Read it twice, then called Sarah in. Have you seen this? Say, the Ashford letter? Yes. What do you think? I think they're finally telling the truth. Elena set down her phone. I think they're finally understanding what they did. Does that change anything? No, the damage is done. But it's a start. Elena looked out her window at the city below. Sarah fined Maria Rodriguez, the woman they mentioned. I want to hire her if she's interested. And I want to fund her fully whatever she needs. Already on it. I actually found her an hour ago. She's working at the Greenwich Women's Shelter. Same place Victoria volunteers. Elena smiled. Of course she is. Life has a sense of irony. That evening, Elena received an unexpected call. From Michael. Ms. Martinez, it's Michael Ashford. I know I don't have the right to call you, but I needed to tell you something. I'm listening. I read my parents' letter, and I realized I've been apologizing to everyone except the person who mattered most. You. I'm sorry. For everything. For the wine. For the cruelty. For being someone who thought wealth made me better than you. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Elena was quiet for a moment. Michael, I appreciate that, but I don't need your apology. I never did. Then what do you need? I need you to become someone who never does that again. To anyone. Rich or poor, powerful or powerless. I need you to build character from scratch exactly like I told you. That's the only apology that matters. I'm trying. I work at Marco's. I'm saving money. I'm planning to go back to school. Study something useful. Maybe social work. Maybe nonprofit management. Something that actually helps people. Good. Then you're on the right path. Ms. Martinez, one more thing. Thank you. For what? For not destroying me completely. You could have. You had every right, but you gave me space to rebuild. That's more grace than I deserved. Michael, I didn't do it for you. I did it because I believe in consequences, not cruelty. There's a difference. I'm learning that. Finally learning that. They hung up. Elena sat in silence thinking about transformation. About whether people could really change. About whether the Ashfords were genuinely different or just better at performing remorse. Time would tell. Time always did. But for the first time since Saturday night at the hotel, Elena felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, but maybe the possibility that consequences could lead to growth. And maybe that was enough. 3 months of destruction, 3 months of accountability, 3 months of watching privileged people learn what the rest of the world already knew. That character matters. That respect isn't negotiable. That how you treat people when you think they don't matter reveals exactly who you are. The Ashfords were learning. Slowly, painfully, but learning. And Elena Martinez was building something bigger than revenge. She was building a movement, A culture. A world where character counted as much as capital. One canceled contract at a time. 1 year after the wine incident, Elena Martinez received an invitation that made her pause. The Ashford Memorial Scholarship Foundation cordially invites you to our inaugural award ceremony. Sarah walked into her office. You got one too. The Ashford Scholarship thing? Yeah. Elena set down the invitation. What do you know about this? I did some research. It's legitimate. Richard and Victoria liquidated their remaining assets, sold everything they had left, and created a scholarship fund for service workers' children. They're funding 10 full-ride college scholarships annually. Forever. Forever? They put the entire endowment in a trust. Even if they die, the scholarships continue. Sarah pulled up information on her tablet. The first 10 recipients are being announced tonight. All children of housekeepers, servers, janitors. Kids who never thought they'd afford college. Elena felt something tighten in her chest. Who's running it? Maria Rodriguez, the woman Victoria falsely accused. She's the executive director. Full salary, full authority. The Ashfords gave her complete control. They put the woman they wronged in charge of their money. What's left of it, yes. Sarah looked at her. Are you going? Elena stared at the invitation. Every instinct said no. Said to maintain distance. Said the Ashfords were still performing, still trying to buy back their reputation. But something else whispered that maybe, just maybe, they were actually changing. Yes, Elena said finally. I'm going. The ceremony was held at a community center in Hartford. Not some fancy hotel ballroom, just a simple space with folding chairs and a small stage. Elena arrived early. Watched families file in. Parents in work uniforms straight from their shifts. Kids dressed in their best clothes, nervous and excited. Then she saw them. Richard and Victoria Ashford sitting in the back row. Dressed simply. No designer clothes. No jewelry. Looking smaller somehow. Humbler. Michael wasn't with them. Victoria saw Elena and stood immediately. Walked over with tentative steps. Ms. Martinez, thank you for coming. It means everything that you're here. I'm here for the scholarship recipients, not for you. I know. That's exactly why it means everything. Victoria's voice was quiet, genuine. These kids deserve someone like you watching them succeed. Someone who understands where they're coming from. Where's Michael? Working. He couldn't get the night off from his job at the community center. He's been there for 6 months now. Youth counselor, works with at-risk kids. Elena raised an eyebrow. Michael Ashford is a youth counselor. He got his social work degree, finished in 10 months, took summer courses, worked full-time while studying. He's actually good at it. The kids respond to him because he's honest about his failures. Before Elena could respond, Maria Rodriguez took the stage. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first annual Ashford Memorial Scholarship Ceremony. Before we begin, I need to say something about the name. The room went quiet. These scholarships are called Memorial, not because anyone died, but because they memorialize what the Ashford family was and what they chose to stop being. They memorialize the service workers who were treated poorly. They memorialize the lessons learned through consequence. And they memorialize the possibility of change. Maria looked directly at Richard and Victoria. The Ashfords destroyed lives through cruelty. These scholarships won't undo that damage. But they're a start. A genuine, painful, expensive start. She began calling names. 10 students, 10 children of service workers. Sophia Chen, daughter of Sarah Mitchell, former Ashford Industries employee. A young girl walked on stage crying. Her mother, the woman who'd told Michael about her daughter's cancer, stood in the audience sobbing. Elena felt her throat tighten. Sarah's daughter had survived, was healthy, was getting a full college scholarship. Marcus Thompson, son of James Peterson janitor. Isabella Rodriguez, daughter of Maria Rodriguez, executive director of this foundation. One by one, the recipients accepted their awards. Each story more powerful than the last. Each child a testament to parents who'd worked impossible hours for impossible dreams. Then Maria spoke again. Our final scholarship tonight is special. It's awarded to a student who exemplifies resilience in the face of hardship. Please welcome Jennifer Anderson, the server from the hotel, the one Michael had snapped his fingers at, the one who'd thanked Elena during her speech at Ashford Industries. Jennifer walked on stage shaking. I never thought I'd go to college. My mom works 3 jobs just to keep us housed. I work full-time while finishing high school. And then I got a call saying a family I'd never heard of was giving me a full scholarship because they wanted to apologize for how they'd treated service workers. She looked at Richard and Victoria. I don't know if I forgive you. I don't know if I should. But I know this scholarship is changing my life. So thank you. And please don't waste this. Don't let this be another performance. Actually mean it. The room erupted in applause. After the ceremony, Elena approached Maria. This is incredible work. How much did they actually contribute? Everything. Their remaining savings, their retirement funds, the proceeds from selling their mansion, their cars, their art collection. About 12 million total. It's enough to fund these scholarships for 50 years, maybe longer with good investment. They gave away everything. Everything. Richard works as a business consultant now. Makes maybe $70,000 a year. Victoria works at the shelter and does bookkeeping on the side. They live in a 2-bedroom apartment in East Hartford. Drive a 2015 Honda. Shop at discount stores. Maria's voice softened. They're not pretending anymore, Ms. Martinez. This is their life now. And they're not complaining. Elena saw Richard and Victoria talking to scholarship families, listening to their stories, crying with them, looking genuinely invested. Ms. Martinez. A voice behind her. Elena turned. Michael Ashford stood there, still wearing his community center uniform. He looked different. Leaner, harder, like someone who'd actually worked for a living. Michael, your mother said you couldn't make it. I wasn't planning to. Didn't think I deserved to be here. He gestured to the families. These people, their kids, I helped hurt them. Showing up felt like asking for credit I haven't earned. Then why are you here? Because one of my kids from the center is receiving a scholarship. Marcus Thompson. His dad used to work for us. I wanted to see Marcus's face when he accepted. Wanted to remember why I'm doing this work. They stood in silence, watching families celebrate. Can I ask you something? Michael's voice was hesitant. Do you think people can really change, or are we just better at hiding who we are? Elena considered this. I think change is possible, but it's not a destination. It's a choice you make every single day. Some days you'll make it. Some days you won't. The question is whether you keep trying. I'm trying. Every day I'm trying, Michael's voice cracked. I work with kids who remind me of who I was. Entitled, angry, thinking the world owes them something. And I tell them about pouring wine on a woman's head, about watching my family lose everything, about learning that consequences are real and character matters. What do they say? Most don't believe me at first. Can't imagine someone wealthy losing everything. But when they realize I'm serious, when they see I'm actually working this job for $35,000 a year living in a studio apartment, taking the bus, something clicks. They start to understand that actions have weight. You're doing good work, Michael. Am I? Or am I just trying to feel better about myself? Sometimes I can't tell the difference. If you were just performing, you wouldn't question your motives. The fact that you do means you're actually changing. Elena paused. But Michael, changing doesn't erase what you did. It doesn't undo the damage. It just means you're becoming someone different going forward. I know. I live with that every day. He looked at the celebration around them. These scholarships, my work with kids, my parents volunteering, none of it erases the wine. The laughter, the cruelty. We just carry it and try to build something better on top of the wreckage. Before Elena could respond, Sophia Chen approached them. The little girl with cancer. Healthy now. Vibrant. Are you Elena Martinez? Sophia asked shyly. I am. My mom talks about you all the time. She says you saved her by destroying the bad company. She says you're a hero. Elena knelt down to Sophia's eye level. Your mom is the hero, sweetie. She fought for you while fighting cancer and job loss and fear. That's real heroism. Will you take a picture with me for my mom? Of course. As they posed for the photo, Sarah Mitchell approached, saw Michael standing nearby. Her face hardened. You. Her voice was ice. Mrs. Mitchell. Michael's voice was steady but quiet. Congratulations on Sophia's scholarship. She's an incredible kid. Don't talk about my daughter. Don't even look at her. Sarah's hands clenched. You almost killed her. Your family's greed almost took my baby from me. I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry doesn't pay for chemo. Sorry doesn't give me back the months I spent terrified I'd lose her. You're right, it doesn't. Nothing I say or do will fix what I helped cause. Michael met her eyes. But I want you to know I think about Sophia every day. About you. About every family we hurt. And I'm trying to make sure I never hurt anyone like that again. Sarah stared at him. You work with kids now. At the East Hartford Community Center. Youth counselor. I work with at-risk teens. Try to teach them what I learned too late. Do they know who you are? What you did? Yes, I tell every kid on their first day. Show them the video, let them judge me. Some quit immediately. Some stay because they figure if I can change, maybe they can too. Sarah's expression shifted slightly. Not forgiveness, but maybe the first crack in the wall of her anger. My daughter's scholarship. Did your family fund that specifically? No. The selection committee chose all the recipients. My parents didn't have input beyond creating the fund. But if I could have chosen one person to receive it, it would have been Sophia. Not to ease my guilt, but because she deserves every opportunity in the world after what she survived. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Then she turned to Sophia. Come on, baby. Let's get some cake. As they walked away, Sophia turned back and waved at Michael. He waved back, tears streaming down his face. Elena watched this exchange with something shifting in her chest. Not forgiveness, but recognition that suffering could lead to genuine transformation. Ms. Martinez, Maria Rodriguez appeared beside her. Can we talk privately? They stepped into a quiet corner. Maria's expression was serious. I need to tell you something. About Victoria. What about her? She works at the shelter 50 hours a week, minimum, takes the hardest shifts, does the worst jobs, never complains. And every woman she helps, every child she comforts, she does it with genuine care. Not performance, real care. Owen, why are you telling me this? Because I hated her. I hated her for 12 years. For what she did to me, for how she made me feel. And I wanted you to know that hate is exhausting. Maria's voice was thick with emotion. I'm not saying I forgive her. I'm not saying what she did is okay. But I'm saying I'm tired of carrying this hate. And I think she's actually becoming someone different. Someone who might deserve a second chance. Maria, you don't owe the Ashfords anything. Not forgiveness, not chances. Nothing. I know. This isn't for them, it's for me. Maria looked at the family celebrating. I'm running this foundation because I want to help kids like my Isabella. Kids whose parents were treated like dirt. And if I spend all my energy hating the Ashfords, I can't do this work properly. So I'm choosing to let go. Not forget, just let go. Elena understood. She'd spent a year watching the Ashfords fall, watching them suffer, watching them transform. And somewhere along the way, her anger had shifted into something else. Not sympathy, not forgiveness, but acknowledgement that consequences had done their job. The Ashfords had learned. Painfully. Publicly. Permanently. And maybe that was enough. Later that night, Elena stood to leave. Victoria approached her one last time. Ms. Martinez, before you go, I need to say something. Victoria, you don't need to. Please, let me. Victoria's hands were shaking. That night at the hotel when I applauded my son pouring wine on you, I was the worst version of myself. I was cruel, entitled, blind to my own privilege. And I've spent every day since trying to understand how I became that person. Have you figured it out? Yes. I became that person because I was never told no. Never faced consequences. Never had to care about anyone who couldn't benefit me. Wealth insulated me from reality until reality crashed through in your office that Monday morning. And now I work at a shelter. I listen to women's stories about abusive employers, about discrimination, about being treated like they're invisible. And I hear my own voice in their stories. I see myself in the people who hurt them. And it's unbearable, but it's necessary. What do you want from me, Victoria? Nothing. I don't want forgiveness or approval or absolution. I just want you to know that what you did, canceling that contract, exposing our cruelty, forcing us to face consequences, it saved us. Destroyed us first, but then saved us from being monsters forever. Elena held Victoria's gaze, saw genuine remorse there, genuine change. I hope you mean that, Elena said quietly. I hope this isn't just another performance. It's not, I swear it's not. This is who I am now. Who I'll be until I die. Not rich Victoria Ashford who treated people like furniture. Just Victoria. Someone trying to repair a fraction of the damage she caused. They stood in silence. Then Victoria did something unexpected. She extended her hand. Thank you. For everything. Even the pain. Especially the pain. Elena looked at the offered hand. Thought about her mother. About every service worker who'd been humiliated. About the wine dripping down her face while people laughed. Then she thought about Sophia Chen's smile. About 10 scholarships changing 10 lives. About Michael working with at-risk kids. About Victoria spending 50 hours a week helping women she used to ignore. She shook Victoria's hand. Don't thank me, Elena said. Thank the person you're becoming. She's the one doing the work. As Elena left the community center, she felt something she hadn't felt in a year. Closure. Not because the Ashfords had apologized, or because they'd suffered, or because they'd changed, but because she'd done what she set out to do. She'd held them accountable, forced them to face consequences, shown them that character matters more than capital, and they'd either learn or they wouldn't, transform or they wouldn't, become better or they wouldn't. That was their choice now. Their responsibility, their journey. Hers was something different. Sarah met her at the car. How do you feel? Tired, Elena admitted. But good. Like I can finally move forward instead of looking back. The Ashfords seemed different. They are. I don't know if it's permanent. I don't know if transformation sticks. But tonight they were genuinely trying. That's more than they've ever done before. They drove back to the city in comfortable silence. Elena looked out at the lights, thinking about the past year, about destruction and accountability and the possibility of redemption. Her phone buzzed. Email from Harvard Business School. Ms. Martinez, we've completed our case study on the Ashford cancellation. We'd like to present our findings and get your feedback. The working title is Character as Currency When Ethics Override Economics. Nin, would you be available to review? Elena smiled. The story was becoming teaching material, the lesson spreading beyond one family, one company, one incident. That was the real victory. Not destroying the Ashfords, but creating a moment that made people everywhere question how they treated others. Question whether wealth justified cruelty. Question whether consequences mattered. She typed back, I'd be honored to review, but change the title. Make it The Price of Dignity, Why Character is Non-Negotiable. That's the real lesson. 3 weeks later, Elena stood on stage at a conference for women business leaders. 5,000 attendees. Cameras everywhere. Her biggest platform yet. 1 year ago, a young man poured wine over my head at a charity gala. His parents laughed, his friends recorded it. 300 people watched. And I had a choice. The room was silent, listening. I could have taken the high road, accepted their apology, signed the $500 million contract. Moved on. That's what everyone expected. What some people think I should have done. But I made a different choice. I chose dignity over dollars, respect over revenue, character over capital. And in doing so, I taught a very public lesson that how you treat people matters, that consequences are real, that wealth doesn't buy immunity from accountability. Some called it revenge. Some called it excessive. Some said I ruined innocent lives to make a point. But here's what I learned: holding people accountable isn't punishment. It's education. And the Ashford family got an education they couldn't buy at any university. Today, Richard and Victoria Ashford work regular jobs. They volunteer at shelters. They've created scholarships for children of service workers. Their son Michael works with at-risk youth, teaching them about consequences and character. Are they perfect? No. Are they genuinely changed? I think so. Time will tell. But that's not the point of this story. The point is that we all have power. Some of us have wealth, some have influence, some have platforms. And the question isn't whether we have power, it's how we use it. Do we use it to hurt people who can't fight back, to humiliate those we think don't matter, to treat service workers, employees, strangers like they're invisible? Or do we use it to lift people up, to create opportunities, to treat everyone regardless of their job, their background, their bank account with basic human dignity? I chose the second path, and I'm asking all of you to choose it too. Because character isn't about what you do when people are watching. It's about what you do when you think no one will ever know. It's about how you treat the server who brings your coffee, the janitor who cleans your office, the person who has no power over you at all. That's the test of character. And it's a test the Ashfords failed spectacularly. But through consequence, through accountability, through the pain of losing everything they're learning, they're changing. They're becoming people who might actually pass that test next time. So here's my challenge to you. Go home tonight and think about how you treat people. Really think about it. The people who serve you, work for you, depend on you. Are you treating them with dignity, with respect, with the basic humanity every person deserves? Because you never know who someone might become. You never know what power they might already hold. And you never know when one moment of cruelty might cost you everything. I'm Elena Martinez. My mother cleaned houses for 30 years, and I built a $3 billion company on the principle that character matters, that respect is non-negotiable, that how you treat people is who you are. The Ashfords learned that lesson the hard way. Don't make their mistake. Choose character. Choose dignity. Choose to be someone who lifts people up instead of pouring them down. The ovation was deafening. 5,000 women standing, clapping, crying, understanding. Elena stood there thinking about her mother, about Maria the housekeeper, about Jennifer the server, about Sarah Mitchell and her daughter Sophia, about every person who'd ever been treated as less than. This was for them. All of them. Every single person who'd been humiliated by someone who thought wealth made them superior. The wine incident had changed everything. Destroyed a family, built a movement, created a moment that would be studied and discussed for years. But more importantly, it had sent a message that echoed across boardrooms and businesses and society itself: character matters. Respect is non-negotiable. And the people you step on today might be the ones who decide your future tomorrow. Michael Ashford learned that when he poured wine on Elena Martinez's head. His family learned that when they applauded. And the world learned it when Elena chose consequences over cash. Some lessons can only be taught through pain, through loss, through watching everything you are crumble and hoping you can build something better from the ruins. The Ashfords got that education, paid for it with everything they had, and emerged as different people on the other side. Not forgiven, not forgotten, but transformed. And that transformation, that genuine, painful, expensive transformation, was the real victory. Because revenge destroys, but accountability transforms. And transformation, however painful, is always worth more than revenge. Elena Martinez understood that. The Ashfords learned that. And now 5,000 women carried that lesson forward into the world. One canceled contract, one glass of wine, one moment of choosing dignity over dollars, and the ripple effects would last forever. That was the power of consequence, the price of dignity. The value of character in a world that too often prioritized capital over humanity. And Elena Martinez would spend the rest of her life teaching that lesson, one business decision at a time, ensuring that what happened to her mother never happened to anyone else without consequence. Because character isn't negotiable, respect isn't optional, and dignity will always, always be worth more than dollars.